You ever just scroll and get this weird feeling that there's something else going on, behind the screen? We think of our apps and our feeds as these simple windows to the world. But what if I told you that underneath all of that, there's a hidden architecture? A system that's designed not just to connect us, but to hook us. Okay, let's pull back the curtain on this hidden world and see what it's really doing to our minds.
Now look at this. This is not a line from some edgy TV show about Silicon Valley. Nope. This is a real quote from a real email sent by a user experience researcher inside Meta, all the way back in 2017. Just let that sink in for a second. We are basically pushers. That one sentence, it just sets the stage for this massive story about how our attention became the product and our own brains became the battleground.
So, let's just get right to the heart of it, shall we? The problem isn't just that we spend a ton of time online. The real issue is that these platforms are not just passive tools waiting for us to use them. They are incredibly sophisticated instruments engineered from the ground up to interact directly with our brain's most basic systems, our reward centers, our attention spans, everything.
To really get what's going on, we need a new term: digital drugs. And look, this has zero to do with medicine or therapy. We're talking about software that's been specifically designed to deliver these little hits of stimuli that intentionally change our mental state, to make us scroll just a little bit longer, engage a little bit more, and buy things on impulse. It's basically the weaponization of our own neurobiology for profit.
And what's so wild is that this is really two sides of the exact same scientific coin. You see, brain science can be used for amazing, healing things. Like you can use dopamine release to reward positive health behaviors in therapy. But then, a company like Meta takes that exact same mechanism and uses it to keep you hooked, triggering dopamine hits with unpredictable notifications. The same goes for neurosynchronization. It can help restore healthy sleep patterns, or it can hijack your attention with an endless stream of hypnotic auto-playing videos. One is medicine. The other is a drug engineered for dependency.
So this whole strategy of engineering a product to be addictive while publicly swearing it's harmless, does that sound familiar? Because it absolutely should. This isn't some brand new evil invention. It's a playbook that has been used before with terrifying success. Let's talk about the crazy parallels with another industry that totally mastered this game: big tobacco.
And this just lays it all out, plain as day. Big tobacco chemically engineered nicotine to make cigarettes more addictive. Big tech algorithmically engineers dopamine loops to make their apps more addictive. Tobacco used bogus light labels to trick people about health risks. Tech uses these wholesome "we're connecting the world" stories to hide their addictive design. And here's the kicker. Both targeted young people, and this is the most damning part, both knew internally for years about the serious harm their products caused while publicly denying it. It's the same playbook, different delivery system.
So where does that leave us? I mean, especially if you're a creator or a brand trying to do something meaningful online. If the whole system is built on these cheap digital drugs, these quick hits of attention, how on earth are you supposed to build something real? How do you create a genuine connection instead of just feeding the addiction machine?
Well, there is a potential answer. It comes from this new philosophy, a kind of creative code of conduct from a group called GAIEC, and that's pronounced GAIEC. And this isn't just about a business model, it's an entire worldview, one that was designed as a direct response to this digital drug economy. It offers a way to create something meaningful in a world that's just full of noise.
Right at the heart of this whole philosophy is this symbol and the idea it represents: circular denken. That's roughly circular den ken, or circular thinking. You can see how it looks kind of like an infinity loop folding back on itself, right? It's the perfect visual for the core idea that every end has to contain the seed of a new beginning. It's a direct challenge to the disposable, watch it and forget it content that's literally everywhere.
So what does circular thinking actually mean when you're making stuff? Well, it throws simple cause and effect out the window. Think of it like this. Instead of just blasting your content out there to be consumed and forgotten, this philosophy says your work should create a feedback loop. It should spark a reaction or a new thought or a real connection that sends that energy right back to you and your audience, starting the whole cycle over again.
And the voice they use for this philosophy is just as unique. It's called the Geraffinet Selbstzeiger. Okay, I'm going to try this. Geraffineerde Selbstzeiger. Basically, it means the sophisticated self-deprecator. And it's this awesome paradox, a voice that is super smart, almost philosophical, but at the same time, it's brutally honest and vulnerable. It's all about having the wisdom to know that you definitely don't know everything, which, is exactly what makes you trust that voice completely. And that vulnerability,
It's not a weakness. Not at all. In fact, according to this philosophy, our personal struggles, our chaos, all our deepest insecurities, those aren't things to hide. They're the most powerful, most authentic sources of creative energy we have. It's all about learning how to tame your inner dragon.
This quote, "Mein Psychose heeft mein Leben gered," it just cuts right to the heart of this idea. It means, my psychosis saved my life. I mean, wow, that is a truly radical concept, right? That an extreme mental state, something our society usually labels as 100% negative, could actually be the very thing that leads you to a massive breakthrough. It's about turning your personal struggles into your creative superpower.
And this whole idea gets a name. #MeinDrak, pronounced Mein Drak, or My Dragon. The dragon is that raw, intense, maybe even dangerous creative energy that's born from our deepest struggles. The point isn't to slay the dragon. The point is to tame it. Because once that raw energy is tamed, it becomes the driving force, the Holy Spirit, if you will, of your entire creative process. This philosophy completely reframes our biggest challenges into our most valuable assets.
Okay, so all of this sounds really deep and cool in theory, but how does it actually translate into making things? In practice, how do you create content that actually uses these ideas? Well, it starts by throwing out all the cheap tricks of the digital drug trade and instead leaning into the science of what truly, deeply captures the human mind.
This slide nails the difference perfectly. On one side, you've got the pattern interrupt, a loud noise, a crazy graphic, a jarring cut. It's an external shock designed to do one thing: stop the scroll. But the attention you get is super short-lived. On the other side, you have the curiosity gap. This isn't a shock from the outside, it's an internal tension. It's an itch in your brain, an unanswered question that you feel this deep need to resolve. The first one is a cheap drug. The second is valuable currency that creates real, actual investment.
And here it is, the GAIEC formula for actually building that curiosity gap into your content. It's all based on this psychological principle called the Zeigarnik effect, which basically says our brains remember unfinished tasks way better than finished ones. So let's walk through it. 1. The hook isn't just any hook, it immediately creates a high-stakes knowledge gap. 2. You create a mini cliffhanger that basically kidnaps the viewer's subconscious. 3. You deliver your main message while that psychological loop is still wide open. 4. You hit him with a second cliffhanger, adding another layer of tension. And then finally 5, the revelation. You give them a satisfying emotional or musical payoff that gives the brain the closure it's been craving. It's a structure built for attention, not just for a fleeting moment of attention.
So when you put all of these pieces together, it really leads to one pretty powerful conclusion. In a world of AI-generated content, of algorithmic addiction, what is our single most powerful, unhackable tool? This whole philosophy points to one answer, and it leaves us with this one last question to chew on. Is your authentic story, with all of its chaos, all its struggles, all its tame dragons, the one thing an algorithm can never, ever truly replicate?